Hey guys,
New notification.
I got a a big theory about Grand Theft Auto that the Mafia, specifically all of the Italian Mafia families, including the McCreary Mafia, along with the other Mafia families of the Grand Theft Auto 4 game, were all the same Mafia families from the Grand Theft Auto 3 game. But here's the thing. Two of the Mafia families, namely the Gambettis and the Pegorinos, were just splinter cell factions of the Leones. And the Leones were falling fast due to infighting. And that infighting led to Vincenzo and Vinny being killed. Vinny was dead in the Grand Theft Auto Advance game and was an associate, a high-ranking associate of the Leone family, but faked his death to try to stab Mike in the back and set Mike up. So Mike wound up killing him. Same way with Tony Cipriani killing Vincenzo. And yet the very, very, very Mafia families known as the Pegorino Mafia family and the Gambetti Mafia family were two sides of the same Leone family coin. It's just that over time the Leone family felt that it was best to fracture off. One had Alderney as their territory, and the other had like somewhere else in Liberty City as their territory. And Alderney became officially Alderney City and was once all Leone family territory. But here's the thing. The very gang that Luis Lopez was and is a member of, the Dominican street gang, became Dominican after the whole fracturing of the Puerto Rican street gang known as the Diablos had fell. So the leader of the Dominican street gang wound up taking out his boss, his very own boss. Yes, El Burro. And the reason why El Burro wasn't even in Grand Theft Auto 4 is because he was killed somewhere during the time after like 2 years. 2 in real life years. In 2000, in 2, and 2003, and by extension 2004, and 2005, and 2006, and 2007, the Puerto Rican street gang slowly, over the course of a short period of time before 2008, became the Dominican street gang. And Luis Lopez joined that street gang in the early to mid 2000s and quit gang banging in the mid to late 2000s. And here's the thing. Dwayne's gang, the Hustlers, were really another offshoot branch that fractured off into 2 separate sects. The North Holland Hustlers and the other hustler gang from GTA 4. I'm not very familiar with those other hustlers, but I know the North Holland Hustlers. But I think there's the Southside Hustlers gang, which they were two subsects of the very Southside hoods, which comprise of 2 other sets, the Purple Nines and the Red Jacks. And with that being the case, the same could be said about the Mafia. And yet, here's the thing about the biker gangs of GTA San Andreas, which is the San Andreas Bikers and the Avenging Angels, and the Vice City Bikers, had fractured. The Avenging Angels fractured from the Lost, and the Lost and the Angels of Death were the Avenging Angels. But Turf Wars and the ever-growing Mafia threat forced both to fracture, and the Angels of Death were the Avenging Angels, which was a Liberty City Stories motorcycle club. But here's the thing. Both the Angels of Death and the Lost MC originally came from somewhere in the county, in like dominating the counties, the backwoods redneck counties of the very small scattered counties all throughout the state of San Andreas, but also ran the desert parts of the the very Los Santos map from GTA 5. And the only motorcycle club gang in GTA 5, shoot, stinky fart. But the only motorcycle club gang in GTA 5 is the Lost MC. Because here's the theory. The Lost MC and the Angels of Death were caballed together. But when the Avenging Angels kicked out half of their organization, they were the Lost faction of the Avenging Angels that were in the state of San Andreas in 1992 had basically was the Avenging Angels, or better known as the San Andreas Bikers. And what had happened was they all went to Liberty City in the mid-90s. And somewhere around like the late 90s, Tony Cipriani wound up bringing the end to the Avenging Angels. And somewhere around the time that happened, or if not, like years earlier, the Lost MC were already exiled in the 80s, in the early to mid 80s, or all of the early to mid 80s, that they became the Vice City Bikers. And then when they came back into Vice City's own criminal elements, that's when Big Mitch Baker, the original Lost MC leader, had met Tommy Vercetti. And here's the thing. When the Vice City Bikers and the Avenging Angels came back together in the early 90s to make up the two halves of the San Andreas Bikers, they fractured again in the late 90s, basically forcing the very, very lost MC to go to war and become the angels of, well, the angels of death became the enemies of the lost MC. And the lost MC lost everything in Liberty City in 2008. And the commission, the Mafia commission of all the Italian mafias, had basically ended up having problems. And during the 1992 the whole Los Venturas war had brought down the Sindacos and the Forellis, and by extension the beginning of the downfall and the end of the Leones. And during 1998, with the downfall of even further of the Leone family, the Forelli family, and the Sindacos. And here's the notes for this part of this whole theory is that the Messina crime family and the Pavanos were the Forelli family, and the Ancelotti and the Lupicelli or the Lupicella family were the Sindacos, and the Messina crime family and the Pavano crime family were the Forellis and like I was saying, the Lupicella and the Ancelotti crime family were, if I'm not mistaken, the Sindacos and the Messina and the Pavanos were the Sindacos, and the Pegorinos and the Gambetti crime families were the fractured sub-factions of the Forellis, and the Sindacos' arch nemesis, the Leone family, that was comprised of the Pegorinos and the Gambetti crime families that have fractured off from each other to make up their own crime families. And here's the thing. John Gravelli and James Pecorino and Joey were actually brothers. It's just that that John Gravelli was the older brother and James Pecorino was the little brother, and Joey Leone was the baby brother, because the baby brother wasn't all that active in family business. And John Gravelli died not because of the whole sickness, is because somehow Joey Leone hated his two big brothers. Absolutely hated them for splitting up the Leone family. And when the Leone families fractured without Salvatore Leone, the Leone family was going to war with itself in the form of the Pegorinos and the Gambetti crime families. And they ruled two different territories. So Joey Leone set his own brothers up to be killed because they fractured the Leone family. And when James Pecorino was saying, and this is a hint, a subtle nod at Salvatore Leone and his death. Here's what he said, and this is confirmed to come from the mouth of James Pecorino. My old man, God rest his soul, did not have the balls to bring the family to the level I got it to, quote unquote. And the whole dismissal of John Gravelli, the head of the Gambetti crime family, wound up saying, so you're the one that's getting involved in that nonsense from my dear friend James Pecorino. Spare me, please. I'm an old man. I don't got very much time left. Quote unquote. And why hasn't James and John mentioned Joey? It's because the baby brother was the one who really had all the power, who wanted both splinter cell factions of the Leone crime family to go under, because Joey Leone was sick of his older brothers fighting amongst themselves and tearing the Leone family apart. And when the Forellis and the Sindacos fell apart, let me go into to my notes again. Here is, if the notes will pop up. Okay, sorry, I'm using my cousin's phone because my phone is locked. Well, the Forellis were actually fractured and splintered off to become the Lupicella family and the Ancelotti family. And the Messina family and the Pavanos were the Sindacos, while the Forellis were the Lupicella and the Ancelotti crime families. And here's why that they fell. The three Mafia wars led to the formation of the Messina family and the Pavanos, the Lupicella family, and the Ancelotti family. And here's how it goes. And when the three mafias became more than just three mafias, it led to all of that. And here's how it goes. The Forelli family Ooh. And when the whole we all know how this ends. It ends with like like Like, like, like I'm talking like it all being connected. Like I'm serious about this. Like I'm talking. Like, I'm serious about this. And this is how like like this is how people end up not understanding that in fact that like this is how like that's just how Like, like, like I'm talking like, this is how.
Uvene. Conqueror. Buffa.
So yeah,
Flim for das. Espanavante.
so yeah.
Rangoya.
So that's been my theory. So yeah. That's like my theory on that. So let me know if you guys like that theory.